Ron Paul has an act that he's reintroducing a farm act that will remove the industrial hemp from the controlled substance. How much outreach do you do to get people to pressure their congresspeople?
How much outreach do we do?
Yeah, how much, and what strategies do you do to try to increase awareness?
We are involved with the Hemp Industries Association as well as the Canadian Hemp Trade Alliance. We do seminars to educate people. We do workshops with the local colleges in about 4 different states to educate people on industrial hemp. This year, starting next week, is the second annual Hemp is Our History Week, organised nationally through the Hemp Industries Association. And although last year we signed something in excess of 27,000 postcards around the nation to go to, was it Gary Holder? Is it Gary Holder?
Eric Lyman?
No, the Chief Attorney General. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the Obama administration. Eric Holder, sorry. For allowing farmers to grow industrial hemp in America and moving those bans. This year we're not doing the postcards because they're an expensive item to print and get out there. But we do have petitions, and we're through the website now, through the HIA, people can sign up and actually register their vote to legalise hemp in America again.
Is there any pool of money from which we could buy radio time for a short radio, like a 15-second radio jingle, if you will, that we could share across a broader? How are we going to reach the broader people?
To do that, you could approach Eric Steenstra or Steve Levine, the president of HIA, because they are a non-profit organisation, although in the last 3.5 years, subscriptions and donations have gone way down because of the economy.
Well, many radio stations have to put aside a certain amount of airtime just for non-profit announcements. I know that for at least in.
Okay.
So we could create a small, and I'm thinking something that can be catchy, that will ring in people's heads.
Old-fashioned jingle.
Yeah, the old-fashioned jingle is a great idea. There is a guy on the staff of HIA. His name is David Pillar, and he helps run with Dr. Bronner's Magic Soaps, the shows all over the country, and he's actually written a song about legalizing hemp in America.
We need it to be 15 or 20 seconds, literally.
Yep. Chop it from 15 minutes to 15 seconds.
It's not the Peter Tosh song.
Just take the byline.
Okay,
just take the byline.
Do chipmunk music, speed it up. You weren't here. You didn't know about the albums.
But if you send me an email, I can send you his, because I've got it on video, his song, and you can chop a bit out of that. And we did that. We recorded that up at the Martin House on the mountain, because he actually came over from Scottsdale, Arizona, to help us on that project. Yeah.
So we're thinking in Vermont that there are a lot of people who want to build chemical-free. A lot of lawyers and people who have enough money to do so. And obviously, you've been looking to tap into that market. What has your experience been?
My experience is that it's you've got two different schools of folks. You've got the chemically sensitive people, and we were supposed to do another hemp house for a woman who was chemically sensitive in Asheville. We did a presentation to the over 55, the AARP group, for development, and this woman was so chemically sensitive to everything that she took one of our hempcrete sample blocks, and she was sleeping in her car. She bought a condo. She could not sleep in her house because of the toxins. She took one of our blocks and carried it around in her car for 6 months to convince herself and her friends that this was okay to build this hemp house. And then the designer got involved, and he said, it's going to cost this much money. And she said, well, I only have a certain amount of money to build this house. So instead of chopping the footprint down, which should be done, the little big home theory, instead of chopping the footprint down, he went to alternate materials. No hemp in the house. So to answer your question categorically, the only testimony we have to it is that this really chemically sensitive woman carried our hempcrete block in her car for 6 months to prove that she was not sensitive to it.
Well, if we can link into childhood behaviors to chemical, could we tell that would be ideal if we could.
Autism is another area of concern that can be addressed by non-toxic, clean air, healthy building.
Have you investigated any applications where you take off the walls of existing homes and rebuild them with hemp, keeping the timber frame?
That's hard because you need to change the footprint.
A little bit like 4 inches out.
If you think about a regular home has been architecturally designed for a 2x4 or 2x6 wall, okay, whether it's single story or double story. Our walls are typically 12 inches, and it's not until we get down to the area, a more temperate climate, that we can reduce that thickness down to what I believe to be 6 to 8 inches. So if we went to Arizona, for example, we'd want a 12-inch wall to create that coolness. Right? If we go to Canada, we need a 12 to 16-inch wall to retain the warmth at minus 20 degrees.
You haven't been working with the bricks. I mean, it occurs to me the bricks.
These bricks, in my mind, there's a trade-off. We're looking for thermal efficiency, we're looking for thermal conductivity, we're looking for lower energy. To do that, you need the right thermal conductivity. Those bricks, much and all as I like them, I think they're a great concept. I think they work in a region like this where you've got these natural products, you're not so much inclined to look for thermal conductivity. Because once you've got to keep them dense. We've experimented in a block making machine where we've made compressed earth blocks. It's a 3,000 PSI machine. We put the dirt in, the clay, magnesium oxide, compress it all together, and out comes a nice thick block that we can then be matured, sealed with linseed oil. We use it for thermal mass flooring or making trom walls. We've tried doing the same thing with hemp. It goes through the mold. As soon as the mold comes off, it falls apart because the springiness of the hemp. We can do it with flax, no problem. We can do it with canaf, no problem. As soon as we use the hemp, though, more than just a token amount of hemp in that mix falls apart.
So are we being overzealous about hemp? Why aren't we going with flax or the other canaf that we are allowed to grow?
Mike Lawrence, as he said this morning, nothing else but hemp will work. We've tested the same. We've gone with corn stalks, which is a waste product. We've gone with linseed oil stalks, which is, they're about this high left in the ground. We've gone with canaf. We've gone with flax. We've had the hemp people from Canada that can't grow hemp and decorticate it in America, so they've bought decortication plant in South Carolina and they're decorticating flax. They said, here, try the flax. It just doesn't work. The capillary system of the hemp is unique in the plant world. There's no other material that will do it. You take some wood, just a simple rudimentary test, you take some wood shavings, put them in a clear bowl of water, clear glass of water. Take the same amount of hemp herds, put them in another glass of water. The next morning, the wood's like this, right? The hemp is floating on top, right?
Have you looked into the plastics? Like, you know how they're making corn-based cups now? Have you seen those?
And trays, it's a great product. There's a firm in Sydney, Nebraska that's manufacturing those. I went and toured their factory.
These are out of corn, but these aren't we can't do that out of hemp.
Again, the cellular properties are so different that's what makes hemp such a special building material, is its ability to wick moisture the way it does, the way those capillaries function.
Yeah. Well, I know that our partners in Australia we're working with for making disposable pallets. 80% of the world's pallets go only one way. So there's a huge problem. They get broken up, they get lost, they go into landfills, and you name it. So these pallets that are going to be made with cornstarch glue will be totally compostable food-grade pallets.
And strong. We hope. Strong enough to carry all the load.
Extremely strong enough. Yeah, they've got to be rated at a certain weight. They've got to be rated.
Otherwise, they're not going to be used.
They've got to be rated up to 2.5 tons. Right?
So have you had any better luck with certain banks than other banks as far as funding any projects? Is there?
Actually, no. And Mountain House was a good example of this. He's an ex-mayor, 800 plus credit score, went to 6 banks before they finally got a mortgage, and he's got 50% equity in his property. We did, but when we showed him and we proved that we got a 60% discount on insurance from Zurich Insurance because it's non-combustible, then the bank said, oh, there's something in this. They came back to appraise for the mortgage, revalued that house at $185,000 more. Right? We built that house for $135 a square foot. He's got a value on it now, $225 a square foot.
Well, Tom is interested in looking into how people can do self-directed IRAs, so we can begin working on funding some of these things and sort of also.
That's interesting. I think my feeling is that in the future there will be banks that will fund green projects. We've got a financier now in New Zealand, although it's a small country of 4 million people. We've got a bank down there that are specifically going to fund our hemp projects, because they're going to be funding them on the energy performance. I mean, we can take that, and New Zealand's a great test bed for ideas. They've always been miles ahead of us in North America anyway, ecologically, environmentally. That now is going to transfer to Australia and then back here to North America. So it's all, and in the future, it won't be right signing your name to get a bank loan. It'll be what's the energy usage on your house. And we've got those stats coming through now. You know, after 14 months of living in this first home, it's 3,400 square feet, 2 stories, 3,500 feet elevation on the side of a mountain in 130 mile an hour wind zone, and their average energy cost without any solar benefits at all is $75 a month.
What is the range of the temperature?
The standard? What is the average energy cost of a traditional house that size?
Traditional home is about $280 a month.
So it's about a quarter.
Oh, yeah.
25-30%.
Yeah.
And what are the temperature range?
Well, I've got a slide I'll show tomorrow in the presentation. We were installing hempcrete up there at -6 degrees Celsius. Now it gets to about -8 up there. At -6, I finally gave up and went home.
That's a little cold.
Right?
It's a little cold to be working.
Every 5 minutes I'm running outside to heat my hands on the motor of the mixer.
-6 is about 20.
20 below?
No. Celsius is 0 is 32.
Yeah.
So -6 is about 21, 22 degrees.
Yeah, so we need to, convince people who are living
In Vermont, you have cold weather.
Yeah, we can get down to, I think cold is -25 or.
Well, right now we are testing our materials at the University of Manitoba at -20 degrees Celsius.
Good.
Because up there they experience something like 10,400 degree days per year.
Are you looking at, in terms of changing our architectural kind of habit to more rounded type? Are you looking to do any work with that as far as energy efficiency?
We are doing work with some dome manufacturers down in Florida, and there's another dome manufacturer up in St. Paul, Minnesota. And there's a dome structure that they're working on where we're going to actually be doing these triangular panels with hemp.
Yes, that's what I was hoping to hear is already being
And
done.
then the plaster will be going over the top of those, okay? He hasn't decided yet what he wants to do on the interior, whether we plaster the interior of that or just leave it, leave them alone. But those panels can actually be made off-site and pre-dried, and then taken to site and installed in the metal frame, right?